A dying teacher, lying helpless in her one-room house, begged for just one medicine that could save her life. But no one came. Not her students, not her neighbors, not even the system she had dedicated her entire life to. That night, she whispered, her last words, clutching the worn-out notebook of her brightest student. "One day, you will remember me." Years later, the same student walked into the same house, but not as a boy anymore. He was now a doctor, standing with tears in his eyes, too late to save the only person who believed in him. But what he did next shook the entire city. There was once a small village where poverty ruled every corner, where broken huts stood as homes, where dreams were often buried before they could even breathe. And in that very village, there was a small, broken school with cracked walls and no electricity. Inside that school taught a woman named Miss Sarah. She was not rich, she was not powerful, but she had something greater than gold. A heart that believed knowledge could change the destiny of even the poorest child. Every morning she would walk to the school in her worn-out sandals, carrying a bag filled with books, chalk, and sometimes bread for the children who came hungry. She swept the dusty floor herself, arranged the benches, and waited eagerly for her students. She was more than a teacher. She was a mother, a mentor, and the only light in the lives of these poor children. But behind her smile hid a terrible truth. Miss Sarah was sick. Her body was weak, her coughs deep, her fever constant. The doctors in the nearby town had told her that she needed medicine regularly. But how could she? Her entire salary went into buying notebooks for her students, chalks for the board, and food for those who had none. Many days she herself went hungry just to make sure her class was never empty-handed. Among all her students, there was one boy who stood out, Ayan. A bright-eyed child with endless curiosity, but born into a family that had nothing. His father worked as a laborer, his mother washed clothes for others, and at night, their house often went dark because they couldn't pay for electricity. Yet Ayan studied under the street lamps, sometimes under the moonlight, holding on to the dream that his teacher had placed inside his heart. One day when Ayan saw his teacher coughing so hard that she nearly fainted, he asked her with innocent eyes, "Teacher, why don't you eat or rest?" She smiled, hiding her pain, and said, "Because seeing you learn fills me more than food ever could." From that day onward, Ayan studied even harder, carrying not only his dreams but also his teacher's hopes. She used to say, "One day, you will become a doctor, Ayan. You will heal people, and you will heal this broken world." Her words became his guiding light. But life grew crueler with time. Miss Sarah's sickness worsened. She often collapsed in class, and her voice became weaker. The students begged her to take a break, but she refused. "If I stop teaching, who will guide you?" she said. One evening, Ayan was on his way back from school when he saw a crowd gathered outside Miss Sarah's small one-room house. His heart raced, and he pushed through the people to see his beloved teacher lying weakly on a wooden bed, her breaths shallow. The village doctor stood nearby, shaking his head. "She needs treatment in the city, costly medicines, regular care. Without them, she won't survive long," the villagers whispered, but no one stepped forward. They all respected her, yes, but none wanted to spend their money. To them, she was only a poor teacher, replaceable. That night, Ayan held her hand tightly as tears streamed down his face. She looked into his eyes, her hands trembling, and whispered, "Don't cry, my child, if I don't survive. Promise me something. Promise me you will become the doctor I always dreamed you'd be. Heal others, even if no one heals you." And with those words, her eyes closed forever. She passed away quietly, leaving behind nothing but chalk-stained clothes and a notebook filled with lessons of hope. Ayan cried all night, broken, angry at the world. But inside his heart, a fire was lit. He swore to himself that he would keep her dream alive, no matter how much pain he had to face. Years passed. Ayan worked harder than anyone could imagine. He studied under candlelight, borrowed books, and worked small jobs to earn money. Many nights he washed dishes in restaurants, sometimes went hungry, but he never stopped. Every failure became a reason to fight harder. Every time he wanted to quit, he remembered Miss Sarah's voice. "Don't give up, Ayan. One day..." Finally, after years of struggle, he earned a scholarship to study medicine in the city. It wasn't easy. He faced humiliation for being poor, ridicule for not wearing fancy clothes like others, and endless nights of exhaustion. But his heart never wavered. He carried Miss Sarah's dream like a flame that refused to die. And then, after years of pain, came the day he had longed for. Ayan became Dr. Ayan. The day he received his degree, everyone around him celebrated, but he did not run to parties or celebrations. Instead, he held his certificate in his hand and walked back to his village, to the grave of the woman who had given him everything without asking for anything. He placed the certificate gently on her grave and whispered, "I did it, teacher. I kept my promise." Tears fell from his eyes as the wind blew softly, as if carrying her spirit around him. But Ayan's journey was not complete. He remembered the pain, the injustice, the way his teacher begged for medicine that no one gave her. That memory haunted him. He decided no one in his village would ever die like that again. Helpless, forgotten, denied of care. With every penny he earned, he started building something that would honor her. Years later, a grand building stood in the heart of the village, a free hospital, built by Dr. Ayan in memory of Miss Sarah. On the day it was inaugurated, thousands of people gathered. They cried, they clapped, but most importantly, they remembered. On the hospital wall, there was a large picture of Miss Sarah smiling, with words engraved below. This hospital stands because of one teacher's sacrifice. The villagers who once ignored her now bowed their heads in shame and tears. They remembered her coughing, her struggles, her endless kindness. They realized they had failed her. But Ayan had not built the hospital for revenge. He built it for love. Because Miss Sarah's legacy wasn't about bitterness. It was about hope, about giving, about never letting poverty decide who deserves to live. From that day onward, every poor patient who walked into the hospital saw her picture. And Dr. Ayan would tell them, "You are not alone. My teacher taught me that every life matters. That's why you will never be denied here." The same boy, who once cried for his dying teacher, now saved thousands of lives in her memory. And every night, before closing his eyes, he looked at the sky and whispered, "I hope you are proud of me, teacher." Because in the end, Miss Sarah didn't really die. She lived on, in every child she taught, in every life Dr. Ayan saved, and in every corner of that hospital, built with her love. This was not just the story of a teacher and her student. It was the story of justice, sacrifice, and a promise that outlived death itself.